If you're already planning out your family's summer bucket list, consider adding in some service. Today we're sharing how to give back in a way that will keep your family coming back for more. Kristen Andrus is a wife and mother of 6 kids, always looking for ways to help her family enjoy serving the community. We're used to seeing Kristen in our kitchen, which there will be time for that, I'm sure, here and there, but you are leaning into this new passion, and it's been a long-standing passion for you. That is service.
Yeah, it absolutely has become a part of who I am, and then it's trickled down to who my family is. And so it's been so fun.
That's what we want to talk about, Kristen, because I think you're an example of many things. One being you've motivated your kids in this process. They are working alongside and serving alongside you. And you say that is in part because you found service that sticks.
Yeah, so I call it sticky service. And I would love to remember years ago, I saw it in some magazine or some article that talked about sticky service, and I thought that's it. And sticky service is something that, we talk about sticks like glue, or it keeps you coming back. And so I often will say to families when they're trying to understand, what does this look like for our family, is don't go and try to save the whales if you don't care about whales. You won't come back. It won't be important to you. Find something that's personal. I was just with a girl the other day. Her daughter has hearing problems. And so hearing aids for children has become her life's purpose. It's personal. It's sticky. They come back. They go back. They get to know families. They get to help. They're in the community doing that. It could be diabetes. It could be single moms. But something that's personal to you that not only sticks in your family because it's personal and you care about it, but that it's something where in the future your kids think about, and it's who they are.
Which, if I'm forecasting, I'm going to predict this will take some patience on the part of parents, because you're not going to find the right fit right away.
Absolutely. And it could take years to find out what your purpose is. I even say right now, everyone thinks I'm doing a lot of service, but we're still in the learning process. We have our hands on a lot of different things, and we're trying to understand what does that look like for our family. But in terms of the patience, I will say that is where I think part of the magic with services is if my kids are uncomfortable, I'm bringing them out of their bubble. I always say if they're hot, too cold, too hungry, or something like that, like putting them in discomfort, it is hard and it's not easy. But sometimes, I remember writing a post that was said, we went and served when we were on vacation. I said, the win was that we got in the van. Like we were fighting, everyone was complaining. And we went and did service. I don't even remember what it was, but we all got in the van and we went. And that was the win. And sometimes it's patience on our part and patience on the kids, but it's always, always worth it.
I love that. How do we go about investigating, if you will, finding what service does suit our family's interests?
Right, absolutely. There are so many things you can do, especially right now, because, the world is just, it's open. It's open. It's on social media. Follow accounts that probably a lot of your kids won't have, maybe necessarily social media, but follow nonprofits online. Sign up for their newsletters. See what your school over Christmas and the holidays. Follow that through summer. Who did we help over Christmas break? Well, let's see, what do they need during the summer? Being open, watching what are other families doing? What is, if my child has a health problem, follow that. Like, who's helping them? How can I then go help other families? Make it personal. Ask your kids. I said, if you had $5 each, who would you give it to? Like all these different things that we've helped, and each kid had a different answer. So it was really cool to ask them, communicate with your kids, and then keep talking about it.
We were doing the closet clean out, and I was explaining to my daughter where these clothes would go, right, to the Desert Industries and who they might help, and she paused and said, well, can't they go to Ukraine? Now, she's 6, and she doesn't quite understand the themes that she's seeing and hearing about, or the needs, but I thought, to see that interest even reflected in a simple question was everything as a mom.
Everything. Yeah. And you don't have to go out and sort clothes for Ukraine for your children to think about Ukraine.
Right.
So that is an amazing example where just talking around the dinner table about something that's going on. I went to a school board meeting the other day and I sat with my kids and I said, this is what happened and these were my thoughts. They didn't go to the meeting. They couldn't go to the meeting, but I can include them in what I'm doing and just talking about it, praying about it. Like there's a lot of ways you can just do it in your home to build that culture of service.
Once we sign up, you want us to show up, but then come back.
Yes. I always say that the magic is in coming back. One thing that I remember is as my kids were really young and we were trying to look at something to do, we would go and serve at the Ronald McDonald House. And just the other day, I'm thinking 5 years ago, we met a girl and she was in an accident. Just the other day, my 10-year-old said, remember her? Remember that girl that was in that accident? Because we didn't just go to the Ronald McDonald House to serve lunch once. we went back. And then we went back again. And so the magic is not in the first, just that, you know, project, but it's who you are as a family, building it in your culture, and then coming back and saying, these kids who are in the hospital are still in the hospital. This is what's happening in their life. We're gonna keep coming back, and that's where kids can feel that empathy. They can really get their heart a little broken.
That's part of the stick, right? It doesn't just stick to you, but you stick to it. It's a two-way street.
Absolutely.
You want us to invite others, make a celebration of it if you can, a gathering of it, and don't be afraid to pivot as dynamics change and kids grow up.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I do now is different than even what I did 5 years ago. A lot of times now I'll do a one-on-one date. You know, if there's a daughter who's 14 that can come, if there's a daughter that's 5, that's gonna look a lot different than what I'm gonna go do with her. My husband and I can go do a date night and sort cans or food for Ukraine rather than going out to dinner. And then, you know, empty nesters, we can get together with girlfriends and pack school lunches for a shelter, or there's a million different things. Just Serve is a great option. But always make sure, I always say, check off on getting your hands dirty and your heart broken.
I love that, Kristen. I love this passion of yours. We'll be chatting with Kristen more over the next many months on how our families can be just as involved. Thanks so much. We'll be right back.